We begin tonight with a family tragedy unfolding in Dearborn. A mother, his dad, her son under arrest. Good evening, everybody. I'm Roop.
And I'm Taryn Asher. It's a case involving both mental illness and domestic violence. Fox 2's Amy Lang reports.
Sunday night, Dearborn police at a home on Reuter Street. A 70-year-old woman stabbed to death. The suspect, her own son, 36 years old with a history of violence and mental illness.
They wanted to sell the house because she wanted to be closer to family. I think it was due to her son's mental issues.
Ali Khalifa recently purchased his home in neighboring Dearborn Heights from the victim, Jamila Alwan, who had lived here with her son. Relatives told Khalifa there had been problems.
That he had mental issues and stuff like that, and there was like a sometimes conflict with his mother. That's all what we know.
Dearborn Heights police tell Fox 2 they had 3 interactions with the son when they lived at this house, including one where he entered a neighbor's backyard and tried to strike the neighbor, who restrained him and called police, who took him to the hospital for a mental health evaluation. Fast forward to Sunday night at this home in Dearborn, where mother and son were living with other family members who were not home when the son allegedly stabbed his mother in the neck. Police say officers arrived within 3 minutes of the 911 call. They tried CPR, but the victim could not be saved. Dearborn's police chief releasing a statement saying, quote, "We extend our deepest condolences to the friends and family of the victim. Senseless acts of this nature can shake the community to its core. We will continue this investigation diligently in order to deliver justice for the victim." End quote. A tragic ending for a family dealing with both domestic violence and mental illness.
It's sad for me to hear, but they're very nice people. She was a very nice lady from my impression.
Dearborn police say the son is in custody and should be arraigned Tuesday or Wednesday. If you or someone you know is struggling with mental health, text or call 988 to connect with the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, available 24/7. In Dearborn, Amy Lang, Fox 2 News.
Well, not a developing news in Wisconsin. It's happened again. Another deadly shooting inside a school that should be a safe place for students. This was the scene this afternoon after shots were fired at a private Christian school out in Madison. Parents running into this nearby reunification center to check on their kids. 3 people are dead: a teacher, a teen, student, and a shooter. Police say the shooter was a 17-year-old female student at the school. 6 more people were hurt, with 2 now in critical condition.
I bring my daughter to school knowing well that this happens in the world, that people are struggling, and I pray for my daughter's safety. I pray for the entire school safety. I pray for the hearts of the students, the teachers, the staff members.
Right now, police don't know the motive for the shooting.
It's been just over 3 years since the mass shooting at Oxford High School. And tonight we've learned there will be another independent review, this time focusing on how Oakland County responded to the emergency. The county has approved $500,000 to fund the study. Right now, Guidepost Solutions has been chosen to look into a number of factors. The firm will examine emergency management protocols, public messaging, and collaboration between agencies. As part of the review, they plan to talk with the victims, their families, and first responders. In November of 2021, an Oxford student opened fire, killing 4 students and injuring 7 others. The purpose of the study is to eventually better protect the community and strengthen response efforts if there are any future attacks. The report is expected to be public by the middle of next year.
Up this morning, looked out the window and felt grateful to work nights and afternoons because driving in that fog this morning, man, it could have been a real mess.
Yeah, but it was actually that way in the evening, too, on Sunday. I mean, it's just been kind of soupy out there, Rich,
That's
and
right.
maybe now some snow.
Well, down the road, we're going to see some snow, Taryn and Roop, but we have numbers right now near 50 degrees. There is a cold front working across the central Great Lakes. It has been wet at times today. Most of the rain is now east of us, but there are still some sprinkles back to our west. Look at these numbers. 51 for us and for Lansing, even way out there in Grand Rapids, 50 degrees. Now, eventually, these numbers are going to fall off later tonight. Right now at the Mackinac Bridge, it's 41 degrees. They have some soupy weather. Temperatures are well above 32 for them and for us. Now, it's going to stay breezy tonight. Still a few sprinkles this evening. We'll get down to 36. And then what's coming next is a weak system. Wednesday brings us some light rain and snow showers, no accumulation, but it's Thursday night into Friday morning that we could see a few inches of snow and then get ready for a cold blast this weekend. Roop, Taryn, a full check of the 7-day coming up in 10.
All right, Rich, thanks so much. Oh, you probably saw it yesterday, just a tough game to watch. But the Lions also lost one of their biggest players in the process. Running back David Montgomery out for the rest of the season with a knee injury following that game against the Bills.
It is the latest in a long list of injuries that have fans wondering how many more players the team can afford to lose. Fox News' Brandon Hudson joining us now in studio. And what are doctors saying, Brandon?
You know, how many gut punches can one team take, right? We know David Montgomery is now going to be out for the season. It wasn't too long ago we were talking about going to the Super Bowl. Now we're just hopeful to get into the playoffs and play at home. David Montgomery, a torn MCL. This is the first major blow to our offense, which is one of the best in the NFL. Montgomery appeared to play through the injury in yesterday's loss to Buffalo. Today, our worst fears were confirmed when head coach Dan Campbell confirmed that Montgomery will undergo season-ending surgery. Now, typically, when we talk about running back knee injuries, we're talking about the ACL, which requires a 6 to 9 month recovery. You know, earlier I spoke with the chief of sports medicine at Detroit Medical Center. He explained that with an MCL, which is on the inside of the knee, the recovery from surgery is shorter. It's about 4 months, partly because the MCL gets better blood supply than the ACL. And sticking with devastating knee injuries, defensive tackle Aleem McNeil, who has been the cornerstone of the defensive line since Aiden Hutchinson's injury, is out with a torn ACL. Dr. Christopher Cook explained that McNeil's recovery process over the next year.
Usually requires surgery to reconstruct the ACL ligament. I mean, you take tissue from another part of your body to make a new ACL. This takes time to heal, and then you have to gain your strength back. Then you have to gain back your proprioception and awareness. So oftentimes it's a 6 to 9 month recovery because to play the game of football with a torn or compromised ACL is asking for further injuries. So this is more something that within the next couple of weeks he'll have surgery on. He'll start healing in the offseason.
If you watched some of that game, you know this was the moment that McNeil knew that his knee was injured and that he was essentially done for the season. Dr. Cook says that McNeil may not return to start next regular season. He may not return to dominating form until another year after that. He's only 24 years old, so he has time. The defense is also reeling from the injury to starting defensive back Carlton Davis III, who's out with at least 6 weeks with a broken jaw. Special teams member Khalil Dorsey, he's also out with a broken leg. Now, to sum it up, 7 of the Lions' 11 Week 1 defensive starters are either out for the season or would not return unless the team made a deep run to the Super Bowl. Send it back to you.
All right, fingers crossed. Some Lions magic, as we know that they're capable of that. Well, it's been months now since the historic Temple Bar in Detroit partially collapsed.
And now, just in time for the holidays, we're told the bar will reopen. Fox 2's Ingrid Kelly takes us inside.
It was a day the owner of the Temple Bar will never forget.
Your building is on fire. I thought it was a prank phone call.
What the owner of Temple Bar would soon learn after that call from Detroit police is that his iconic dive bar had collapsed.
The entire facade had collapsed at 10 o'clock in the morning.
That was Memorial Day weekend, and the doors have since been closed. That devastating moment crushing the events this bar is known for.
That was our movement opening party that night.
It also crushed the sense of safety and security that many of the patrons experience when they go to Temple Bar.
The whole premise when I bought the bar was to make it a safe space for everyone. The city was totally different back in '88. Very segregated, very homophobic. And I wanted a place where all my friends, you know, black, white, gay, straight, I don't care.
And George tells me he wasn't always so sure that he would reopen, but he says if the fight ever appears to be too big, hang in there and never give up.
A number of times I was this close to giving up.
What made you keep the fight up?
my customers.
The bar is now back in business.
This place became my second home, and now that it's back open, I'm just super excited.
George says the Temple Bar is safe and patrons should not be concerned.
We actually had to hire a structural engineer when this all happened to make sure that the building was structurally sound.
Now George just wants to welcome the community back with open arms.
Just as I remember.
In Detroit, Ingrid Kelly, Fox 2 News.